Chapter 84. Thank you for taking my side, but I deal with people like that in stride. I've handled that kind of scorn ever since I was born. Jenny was so focused on her homework to come up with a good way to illustrate with sound a report for radio that at first she didn't notice what was happening in the seat in front of her on the noisy tram. "You can't sit there, you filthy Jew!" She quickly put down her notebook and looked at a young, ruddy guy who grabbed a tall, broad-shouldered girl just as she was about to sit down on the seat in front of Jenny. The girl was pushed away and the boy sat down with a big grin. At first, Jenny didn't do anything. Neither did anyone else. Many looked dismayed, but no one made a move. Jenny got a weird feeling inside. She remembered when that had happened and how she had asked passers-by in vain to help when Keivan was kicked. She got up. "Just because you are unloved and pathetic, there is no reason to be rude." Jenny pointed to the tall girl and noticed the silver star of David that hung around her neck, "has at least as much right as you to sit there." The guy stared at Jenny, squinting. Then he got up, but before he could say or do anything, the tall girl spoke. "He's not worthy of your anger." When Jenny met her gaze, she was amazed at the calmness it radiated. "Besides, I don't want to sit on a seat he has soiled." The redhead turned to the girl with the Star of David. "You fucking..." She interrupted him. "My family lived in Israel. I grew up in one of the besieged areas. I've been surrounded by people who have hated us and wanted to kill us. She paused and looked at Jenny. "What did you call him again?" "Oh yeah, an unloved and pathetic Swede does not scare me." The redhead was confused. He had raised his arm to strike, but then a man stood up. He said nothing. He didn't even stand in the way of an upcoming blow, but he stood up. That was enough. As soon as the tram stopped, the offensive person got off, after screaming some standard insults to Jenny and the Jewish girl. When Jenny got off a couple of stops later, she noticed that the tall girl got off at the same stop. Jenny adjusted her pace so that they came to walk next to each other up the steep Eklandagatan. It was nice to walk in the mild May sun. "I was impressed by your calmness," Jenny said. "I was impressed by your courage. I've lived in Sweden for, 12 years, I think, and I haven't seen much of that here." Jenny looked at the ground, ashamed of her own people's behavior. "It's because we're not used to it. Many of us never encounter terrible things. When we're suddenly faced with them, we can't think of what to do, and then the situation is already over." They continued walking side by side. Jenny was supposed to turn off to Volatamsgatan to her student apartment, but for some reason she wanted to continue talking to her new acquaintance, so she continued straight ahead instead of going home. She continued with her calm voice. "Or it's because you have so much to lose. In many other countries, such as Palestine, most people have no job and no standard of living to speak of. There you can get yourself into difficult situations without thinking about it. Here, you have more to lose." "Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose," Jenny sang. "You sing beautifully." Jenny looked up, surprised. She overthought of songs that suited different occasions, but she hadn't been aware that she had sung the lyrics from the Janis Joplin song out loud. She stopped and held out her hand. "My name's Jenny. I'm a Malka." That was the beginning of a long and profound friendship.